Hello, everybody. Am glad to be able to join you here this morning for a few minutes, and I want to talk. I've been working in Daniel this week, in Daniel chapter 3. I was working in this morning, but the thought that was in my head was about breakthroughs and or breakdowns, and how that those things seem to kind of go together. A lot of the times, there's people that are going through breakdowns right now. You've seen them, I have too. That if they just hold on, don't break down, wait for a breakthrough. I believe that God is always there. God is always willing to do something more, something better, something different. And sometimes you just have to work through it. So Daniel chapter 3, I want to talk to you a couple of minutes on the subject of boldness in fiery trials. And you know where fiery trials come from. We know they are from the enemy of our soul, Satan. Some call him Slewfoot, the devil. Ephesians 6:12 says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And while the origin of our trials and problems are not out of, they are out of the rulers of darkness. I mean, that's important to know that most of this stuff pretty much all of this stuff comes from Satan himself. They're often delivered to us by other people. People that are living, a deceived life, self-centered life, angry, selfish, proud, blasphemers, or greedy. In 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 3, he talks about some of those things. And he said there'll be those that are going to be unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and that they'll actually have a form of godliness in some cases, but they deny the power of it. In other words, people are talking about God and they act like they're following after God, but they don't believe that God has the power to change anything or anybody. And it says then from such people you should turn away. And we need to know this just because it is the reality of this world. There are unloving and mean people out there, and we can't avoid them completely. The thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but what God seeks in your life and in mine, in spite of the thief, good things. Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So 3 things to build on before you face the fire of adversity. Remember, I told you I'm in Daniel chapter 3, which we know that to be Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego being thrown into the fiery furnace. But I think you and I could both come up with many more than just these 3. But these were the first ones that came into my mind for me. So number 1, practice doing good for God and others. In Romans 12:21 it says, don't be overcome with evil or by evil, but overcome evil with good. Don't let the evil win. In other words, don't let the evil of others overcome or overwhelm the good that God has put in you. Practicing doing good even when you can't find any good around you. We keep practicing that good. You can tell who is following the Lord by the way they respond to the evil that is around them. And we should be different. We shouldn't be just going after that. Secondly, number 2, remember that this is the great calling of God to believers, that we are to be different. Boldness and trust in our God should cause us to act different, to respond different, and to live different. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 44, Jesus said, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. It goes on to say that this is how you know that you're the children of God. This is how other people know that you're the children of God. It means it doesn't matter what others do. I trust God. It doesn't matter how bad things might get. I'm still going to trust God. I live for God even when there are mean people and crazy people that are working against me and working against that which is good. And then the third one, bless those who are in need of God's grace. 1 Peter 3:9 is where it says that we shouldn't return evil for evil or insult for insult. But on the contrary, we should be blessing others, knowing that you are called to this, that you may inherit a blessing. God says you are called to inherit a blessing, and his blessing is all about eternity and in heaven and the good things from God in this world that I believe he still wants to give us, and he wants to use us to accomplish many good things here. So if boldness and trust are forefront in your way of living, you can bless those around you. This is what we have, not just to get through, but to bring victory even in our fiery trials that we have to face. In Daniel chapter 3, King Nebuchadnezzar builds a golden image, statue of himself, many people believe, that was 90 feet tall. And he sends for everyone to gather them together, and they all get out in the big courtyard around this idol. And when the music starts, they're supposed to bow down and worship this golden image that the king had set up. I find it amazing that King Nebuchadnezzar, only 4 verses earlier, had said to Daniel in Daniel chapter 2, verse 47, he said, "Truly your God is the God of gods, the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, since you could reveal this secret." We talked about it the other day. Aren't you surprised at how quick some people forget God? God helps them out of a jam, gives them a raise, gives them some healing, gives them something that they've been needing, wanting, or desiring, and right away they forget God and they build to themselves an idol. It is also amazing at how quick people get angry when you don't agree with them. When they had all the people together and the music started playing, the only ones left there that did not bow down before the golden idol was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were the only ones left standing. Everyone else was down. So the king calls them up, and he said, I'll give you one more chance. One more chance. I'm going to play the music, and you just bow, and everything's going to be fine. Bow to the image, worship the image. And they said, no thanks. So here's the kind of boldness that we need. We need this kind of boldness. They said, we don't have any need to answer you in this matter. In the King James, it says, we are not worried about what you think about our answer. I like that because it uses the word careful in the King James version, but it's really the word worried. We're not gonna stress out over this, King. There's just no way that we're going to do this. We're not bowing before some golden image that you set up. And so here's where the trust in God comes in verse 17. They said to the king, "If that is the case, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king." I think they were saying, God is certainly able to deliver us from your teeny-weeny fireplace in God's eyes. But whether he does it or not, God will deliver us from you. We will not bow. And if you learn how to trust God in life, you can also trust God in death. If you learn how to trust God during the good times, you'll know how to trust God in the difficult times. There are a lot of people who say that they're willing to live for God, but are they willing to live for God even in death? Chapter 3, verse 19 says, the king was full of fury, and his face changed toward them. He offered or ordered that the furnace would be heated 7 times hotter, and it got so hot that even the guys who threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fiery furnace were burnt up themselves, and they lost their life. So they didn't surrender. They didn't quit. They didn't give up. They refused to go that direction. And I think that we live in a world right now that's full of idols that have been set up by different groups here and there, and people who have selfish motives and all the other stuff that goes with it. I believe we as believers just have to get to the point where we just say, you know what, I'm not going to bow to that stuff. I'm just not going to bow to that. And I think that this 21 days of prayer is going to be one of the things that helps us to determine who we really are in Christ and what the real priority here is. Is it what the media says or what others might say? I think we have to keep our focus on God and keep praying to him and be careful not to cross those lines into something else. So I have 2 more verses that I think deserve our attention. Verse 25 of Daniel 3. The king Nebuchadnezzar stands up. He said, didn't we throw 3 men in the furnace? And they said, oh yeah, that's what happened. And the king said, look, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. God's not afraid of the fire that you get thrown into. Sometimes we wonder, is God really there? Is God really helping? Is God really... Look, Psalm 91 says that he will be with you in your troubles, no matter what those troubles are. You know, they came out of that furnace and didn't even smell like smoke. And the only thing that, they went in with all their clothes, but they were tied up, bound with ropes or whatever. And the only thing that got burnt on them was the ropes that had them bound. And I think sometimes if we will demonstrate our confidence and our faith, our trust in God, God will burn some things off of our life too. It even happens during that time of where we are under stress, where we seem like we're about to have a breakdown. If we'll continue to trust in God, I believe that he'll provide a breakthrough and he'll burn off all that stuff that is keeping us bound. In verse 28, Nebuchadnezzar said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel to deliver his servants who trusted in him, and they have frustrated the king's words," or changed the king's word, "and yielded their bodies that they should not serve nor worship any god except their own God." They just refused to bow down and worship anything else. Even when the king was saying either bow or burn, they refused to do it. Doesn't that verse remind you of Romans 12:1, where Paul said, "I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God"? The king said that they frustrated, or they changed the king's word, and they yielded their own bodies, that they should not serve nor worship any god except their own God. We have one God to worship, and we should yield our bodies to serve him in every way, in every aspect, trusting him with confidence, with boldness, living out his word no matter what. Now, I'm just going to remind you of rule number 16, then I'm done. My personal rules for ministry, rule number 16 is never let what other people say or do change who God has made me to be. I know I give this one out a lot, but the truth is we have to keep that in the forefront of our mind, because there are people all around us all the time who are trying to change our mind about who God is and what our role in this world is. Don't let it change who God has made you to be. And if you're not totally sure yet who God has made you to be, then here's the thing. 21 days of prayer, 3 times a day. Vocalize your prayers to God. Just get honest with him. Be thankful for, tell him all the stuff you're thankful for. If you can't think of anything else to say, just tell him the stuff that you're thankful for. And I believe God will begin to transform a mind into something that has a greater level of trust and also a greater level of confidence. I hope you have a great day, and I'll probably see you again here in the next couple of days. I'll just do another little short one like this one. Love you guys. Hope all is well with you. God bless you. Bye-bye.